49er faithful ride with me. Red and gold blooded to the day I die. Reppin' Niner gang and it's all I bleed. Racking up dubs in my Levi jeans. And we run over the league with our whole team. Be that number one seed cause we ballin'. Putting in that work early in the morning. Super Bowl team and now these haters salty. Rockin' Zenny shades to the championship shift. That Nick Bosa drop him hard like a history. The Jimmy Ward intercept him with a pick six. Like Debo, we gon' knock him like a brick. The trade lands play action to a drop back. When the blitz coming quick, the old line gon' block that. RPO with Kyle Hughes, Juice. But Mitchell and George Kittle, can't nobody stop that. Stand behind Kyle Shanny all the way. It's like a game of chess when he call to play. Brendan Ayuk on the slanter fade. Bang, bang, Niner gang all day. I'm talking big body Trent Williams and C. Ward. Offense, defense, either way we score. Jay Verrett, Mosley, and Fred Warner. Armstead and Greenlaw, warned ya. 49er faithful ride with me. Red and gold blooded to the day I die. Reppin' Niner gang and it's all I bleed. Racking up dubs in my Levi jeans. And we run over the league with our whole team. Be that number one seed cause we ballin'. Putting in that work early in the morning. Super Bowl team and now these haters salty.
Look, I'm a diehard, born and raised in the Bay.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to IE Sports Radio. I'm Niners Jess, along with Ty Alston, Maddie B, and your girl Bex. We are the East Coast Red and Gold. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Hanging in there.
All right. Well,
is he going to do like a CMC remix on that? Because I feel like you could drop CMC into a couple of spots of that song, and then it's fresh and updated, right? Slap a little Eli in there.
Yeah, I think, who knows? You never know. And those videos actually are
remix,
courtesy of NFL.com.
Remix, either one.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. But they are definitely courtesy of them. I could not go back in time and get that video. I would have loved to. Like, if there was a way for me to step through and they'd be like, yo, you want it? Yep, I'll be there. Like, I would go back in time with my iPhone 13 Pro Max and take like corner all 11 video at all the old games if they would let me. But sadly, that technology does not exist yet.
Mm.
All right. Becca, how you doing? Ty, good?
Yeah, doing real good.
All right.
All right.
Someday.
Our special guest, Dwight Hicks, will be joining us later in the show. But for now, let's talk about the Arizona game. Maddie, you were there.
It's a nice vibe. Very conquery, right? It was like, first off, we continue to start with this ridiculous, like, first couple plays of the game get pantsed thing. I don't know what that's all about, but it needs to stop. Like, at some point, like, hey, they're going to take a big shot deep early.
Can we be ready?
Right? Holy mother of Pete. Like, come on. Like, you don't think, like, this weekend, just to take a little sneak peek ahead, you don't think they're going to empty every single kitchen sink, punt,
Deep
fake,
ball.
field goal, fake, double throwback pass on a kickoff return,
Pretty much everything.
free kick after a fair catch for a field goal, BS crap that they can come up with. Like, somebody's going to do a drop kick on Saturday. Like, I have no doubt in my mind. Like, this is like one of those hardcore matches where they go to the trash can and they just empty everything. Thumbtacks, 2x4s. Like, they grab the top of the trash can and they use that, they take two of them together. Same deal. But in terms of the Arizona game, like, as soon as that happened, it was almost like, oh, okay, they're going to try to play today, guys. Ha ha. And then they went down and scored, and then they just boat raced them again. Another 38 points, just like automatic at this point, right? 38 points. What I don't know what that means, but it seems like the clock seems to stop at 38 quite often for this team. So take that however you wish. But just a good performance against a spirited Cardinals team that, like, really didn't have a lot to play for, but at the same time, I don't think any of them wanted to mail it in on JJ Watt's last game.
Yeah.
Their defense still played their heart out. By the way, watching JJ Watt walk off the field, if you guys haven't seen that video yet, goodness, the absolute saddest thing I've ever seen. Like, sad, super sad, the saddest. Like, the realization hit him. He was like, "Oh, I'm done. That's it. Like,
Yeah, that was kind of emotional, and it's a shame that he had to finish on the Cardinals.
yeah, like it's too bad he couldn't get like one extra run, or like, maybe they could have released him and he could have played here and bookended Bosa next year. That would have been nice. I would have totally. I think we would have signed up for that, right? Or maybe he catches on here in Pittsburgh and plays with his brother or something. But he's gonna retire, so good for him. But Kittle once again, and Purdy, got knocked around a little bit, played well, but it's amazing. Like, whatever has happened, like Purdy looks for Kittle and Kittle catches the ball. The toe tap in the back of the end zone was great. McCaffrey at this point continues to be the key to the offense. Like, everything runs through him and everything runs off of that. So also better than finishing. Yeah, what a crap sandwich you get for a career, right? Houston and Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't even get like a token run in like Green Bay or New England or San Francisco or Dallas. Any of the no, you get Houston and you get Arizona. That's it. Good luck. And like, I don't know how many games he missed because of those like biceps and whatever. So like, he might have missed some playoff games there for like when those teams are actually good. So then I believe he played on one team that started TJ Yates at quarterback in the playoffs, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Texans. Yep.
TJ Yates.
Or
Good times.
Mhm.
Yeah. They didn't have a Brock Purdy on their bench, right? They didn't have that. So
Not many people do.
I was just gonna say,
no.
you could look far and wide, and you're not gonna find many.
I
of
mean,
them.
look at the Dolphins. I mean, Tua's not playing this weekend, so they're looking to their
Skylar
rookie quarterback.
Thompson is not Brock Purdy. That is a fact.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
correct. Every time I hear the name Skylar, I think of that episode of South Park where Stan's sister says Skylar the whole time. Like, and that's how I hear it in my head every single time. Her saying it through her braces constantly. Skylar, I love you. Like, that's what I hear. Yeah.
Stan. Oh God, I can't. But yeah, George Kittle, 7 touchdowns in 4 games.
Yeah.
It's like
Craziness.
it's about time. Brandon Ayuk,
1,000 yards for the
1,000
season.
yards.
yeah,
Wide receiver one.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think
everybody.
so.
Receiver one.
Although we'll get to this later, but watch out for Debo on Saturday.
I'm not saying that he's not like good in any way. This isn't like a ranking system, but it's more like, to me, Debo's just about everything, right? Like, he's like the greatest slot receiver of all time, right? Because not only does he do that, like, you can flip-flop him and McCaffrey and you really don't lose much in either spot. Like, if you want to put McCaffrey in the slot and put Debo at tailback, okay, right? You can do that if you really want to. Like, really, like, I know they've got Debo as a wideout, and technically he's wide receiver one, and it's like whatever. Yeah. But to me, it's like Ayuk is wide receiver one, and Jennings is wide receiver two, because those are your 2 wide receivers. Those are the ones who are catching the passes. So, and from that position, right? So.
No, but that's an honest assessment. It's fair. It's the truth. Like, Brandon Ayuk is wide receiver number 1.
Yeah.
Debo Samuel is offensive weapon, like 1A or 1B.
Right. Yeah.
McCaffrey right there.
Swiss Army knife one.
It really depends on the matchup with the defense, right?
That's
at the end
however
of the day.
Kyle draws it up.
Whatever it is that week.
Yeah.
And to
Maybe it's juice as option 1J, of course.
Yeah.
And to think that Brandon Ayuk was in the doghouse not too long ago.
Shout out to him for responding to that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of guys nowadays just call their agent and say, "Get me the hell out of here," right? They do the Yankeel Harry thing. They just kind of turtle, and that's a wrap.
Yep.
Like, he didn't do that.
No.
Came back, played pretty well last year, and really played well this year. So
yeah. It started in that Chicago game, and it started with his blocking. He sold out and just started blocking his butt off. And then still running routes, getting open, and we got the ball. And he stuck with it. I mean, that's the kind of guy we want on our team, a guy that has resilience, that's going to fight through it and become the guy, you know. So I'm very happy for him,
100%.
and I'm glad he's on our team.
Would you think that Danny Gray's in the same situation?
I think he is because
Yeah.
one of the things Kyle pointed out was his blocking. You know, and
That's
we
a
got to
big
think
step
about
up.
this. Yeah, we got to think about this. Kyle was a wide receiver himself.
Mm-hmm.
So when he's designing an offense, he knows exactly what he wants his wide receivers to do. So he's going to push them to the limit. And if they ain't cutting it, he's going to let them know. And everyone says that, you know, Kyle's a straight shooter. He's honest with these players. He lets them know what they're doing wrong and what they're doing right. So I'm sure he's letting Danny Gray know exactly what he needs to do. And it's up to Gray to step up.
Maddie?
It is. It's just a big jump from SMU to the pros, right?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of blocking to be asked for at Southern Methodist University. Okay.
Mhm.
That's not a big ask of their receivers. So at least in terms of like the level that they're going to want to do it at this level, right? And what Kyle's going to do. So that's a big jump. So they do need to be coached up. But he's clearly got that talent to get to where he needs to be. And he'll have time. He'll have roster spots. Like I'm interested, you know, Jennings has found a role, right? Like he's found a role and still, even with all the touches that there really aren't, right? Because McCaffrey gets, it seems like, the majority of them.
Yep.
Rightfully so, because that's where the offense seems to run best, right?
Yep.
He still makes the most of those, you know, 3 to 4 targets a game, right?
Exactly.
Whether it's 2 to 4 targets or whatever. So it's just real interesting to see where they move the hot spots to. And I'm going to be real interested to see how they do this week. So I think they got some stuff out of their system this week too. Like there was a couple of good things that I really saw this week. Like they got punched in the mouth early, like they did against Vegas. Instead of Vegas hanging around in the, like, you know, Arizona hanging around in the game like Vegas did, they kicked their ass pretty quickly. Like that was it, right? Like, all right, cute, you got your shot. Like all that for a drop of blood, right? Like that's really what it boiled down to. And then the ass kicking began. And then they started throwing moons on them. And that was it. Like, and then they were out of there. And it was almost like the game was over early in the third quarter. Like that was a wrap. You just felt there was no, that was it. And it was like the entire stadium was like that. There was even the Cardinals fans that were around me, which, how do you become a Cardinals fan? I don't understand. I just, unless you grew up in St. Louis or Phoenix, like I don't.
Right.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Like, are you a big Neil Lomax person? How did that work? I don't. Roy Green, never caught that game. I never caught that ball in 80-80, though. It was a terrible play. But just, that was it. The whole stadium was like, okay, let's get ready for next week. And then they started taking players out and rotating them. And you saw Bosa be off to the side. And like, everybody started to get some rest. You know, the exact opposite of what they did for the Chargers, right? Where they're like, we'll play everybody to the end in a meaningless game. And then we'll lose one of our best receivers. It's fine. Right.
Well, Kyle had said that, you know, it's hard to just rest players because they're constantly, you know, they're playing all year. So to have them play and then rotate in and out and then eventually just, you know, take them out. I mean, he said exactly what he was going to do. I mean, I know everyone's afraid of the injury bug, you know, as am I, but it's just, you know, I mean, the guys have to play like it's football, you know, unfortunately things happen. But Becca, what do you think about Danny Gray?
About Danny Gray? I mean, I think he's still young and has a lot to learn. I don't know if he's particularly in the doghouse, but, you know, I think there's still a trust that has to be built there. And you know, he has to demonstrate that he's got the skill to man up and hold his own. So, you know, I think that, you know, that's something that'll come with time. You know, look what Brandon Ayuk's done for himself by continuing to progress. And as long as Danny Gray keeps progressing, I think he'll be all right.
Just
One thing
say hello to. Go ahead.
He is. Oh, I was going to say Danny Gray. If you notice, he is out there. He is, you know, getting spots on the field, getting reps. So it's not like he's completely in the doghouse and we don't see him on the field. He does get out there for a few snaps. So
he's just not getting a lot of targets. And
and it's hard because let's face it, he's the low man on the totem pole when he's out there.
Have to be wide damn open and he better see you, right?
Exactly.
Like, that's it.
And you better
exactly.
You're option 6 out of 5. Okay. So that's really what
it's broken down badly, right? At that point.
And that's not a knock on him. That's like not his fault, man.
Not.
Like, damn.
It's not.
Like, it's just how it goes.
It's not. You know,
somebody's got to make the French fries, right? And
Yeah,
really,
exactly.
that's what he's doing. He's part of a
But he's
burger
got to go
crew,
to
and
Starbucks for
unfortunately,
the coffee.
yeah, exactly. He's
Yeah.
going to clean the filters, right?
Exactly.
That's just how that's how it works.
It's like I got these 5 top shelf wines here, and then I got this box wine sitting on the table.
I have this
box
bottle of
wine
Boone's
is
Farm,
terrible.
Strawberry Hill. Okay, it's fine.
See what I got under the bar here.
Well, Mad Dog 2020, you know.
There you go.
No.
Yeah. Who are you
Almost
shouting out, Jess?
empty bottle of tequila. Someone
Oh,
said
I wonder who drank that. Rob D says there was a play that Danny Gray didn't block and actually got in the way. I think I know what play you're
things
talking
like that.
about. Yeah.
Not shocked by that in any way.
Well, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. It's going to happen. How about Elijah Mitchell in the game? I thought he played really, really well.
He's going to be a big key in these playoffs.
Yeah.
You could see him getting his sea legs, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was really, really key. Him getting his sea legs and getting healthy and like having vision and seeing the holes. Like, that's one thing that guys, when they come back from injury, a lot of times it takes them a while to remember, I got to cut here. I got to do this. He didn't have those problems.
Play with Purdy.
No hesitation.
Right. No miscommunications, no oops, Purdy like ends up putting the ball in his ass instead of his stomach because he goes the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
You see that once in a while.
Yeah.
Like that happened with Mason and Purdy, I think. Like
I was just gonna say that did happen where Mason was on the one side and he just kind of gave the ball to Aaron.
Right. Sometimes, unfortunately, you cannot hand off to an ass cheek. It just doesn't. It doesn't work. It just doesn't. There's no.
Mark Sanchez may know a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Right, but he got a grade 1 concussion out of the deal. So like, think about it. He's the only person that's ever. Yeah, he got knocked out by an ass, if I remember correctly. Like
I don't remember.
he got knocked out. Like he was out cold. Like there was no way he did not have a concussion out of that. Like that would hurt.
Was it in the Giant game, the butt catch? Was that the play in the game where he caught it between his legs and his butt cheeks, the receiver, and then pulled it in underneath, and they actually called it a catch?
I remember that one.
I think that was in just the past 2 weeks. Somebody
was talking about that. Yeah. I don't know what game that was, but yeah.
Are you saying he pulled it out of his wahoo? Like, that's really what you're saying at this point. Like, hey, look at this, a football. Like,
he caught it behind his legs and got tackled. And as he's going to the ground, he pulled it out from between his legs into his arms. It's a crazy.
He trapped it on his butt.
Still more of a catch in the Adam in Vegas.
And as he rolled, he pulled it up into the
proper trap. He trapped it between his arm and his whatever body part.
He did a butt trap.
No, it was his legs, his feet, and his butt when he was going to the ground. And then as he was rolling, he pulled it around up between his legs.
Yeah, he reached down between his legs.
Yeah, and pulled it up. Oh,
craziest thing. Only the Jets.
They did call it a catch. I don't know if that was overturned or not.
But no, it was a catch. It never hit the ground.
They didn't. Okay.
It was butt trapped.
All right, guys. So I am honored to introduce our special guest. Two-time Super Bowl champion with the San Francisco 49ers, former safety and New Jersey native, Dwight Hicks.
Hey.
Hello, everyone.
I love it.
How you doing, Dwight?
Oh, I'm great. I just came in when you guys were talking about reaching between the legs. I'm like, what are they talking about?
This is fun fact. This is a family show.
And I saw Ty reaching.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Am I on the right line?
Guys, here's Dwight Hicks, right? Look at what
Hey, welcome to the show, Dwight.
Hey, I know you guys were telling me anything goes, but damn.
Oh, that's great.
Oh man,
Oh.
that's awesome.
It is an honor to have you.
Yes,
Thank you
indeed.
for joining us.
Well,
Yes, thank you
I'm
for joining
glad
us.
I was able to join you. I heard a lot of good things about you, and your Niners all the way, and Jersey.
Jersey.
In the house.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's all good. I'm like, Jersey people are my people.
Right. That's what I'm
That's
talking
awesome.
about.
With yesterday being the anniversary of the catch, Dwight, the most iconic play, which pretty much started the dynasty of the 49ers, can you describe what it was like being on the sideline?
Euphoria. That's what it was. I had heard so many things about Dallas coming back and beating the Niners so much. And I knew it meant so much to the fans, let alone, I mean, I had been there for 2.5 years. But all the fans, you would hear all this talk about, we almost got there and we almost got there and we were up with 2 minutes left or something like that. We were up by 2 scores and Dallas scores 3 times in 2 minutes. So the fact that we were able to win that game with that catch, and I also remind me to talk to you about Eric Wright's tackle afterwards.
Yes.
And Jim Stuckey's fumble recovery.
Yeah, both those things. Yes, both those things. And it was just great for the city, great for us to start a dynasty like we did with, number one, that play. Because I tell people 9 times out of 10, Dwight Clark does not catch that ball. But that day, in that moment, he went up and got it. And that's why it's called the catch.
Yeah, meant to be.
And now, after that catch, Dallas had some time on the clock, and they were trying to put together a drive. And Danny White, being an accomplished quarterback that he is, and he had great receivers, they had the right play called at the right time. Drew Pearson splits our defense. Danny White throws a rope, caught him in stride, and he was on his way. Eric Wright reached out with one hand on the back of his shoulder pads, which, by the way, would be a horse collar today.
Yep. Yes, it would.
Would have been a field goal range.
And pulled him down.
Yep.
And then the next play, we get a fumble. I don't know who got the fumble. I think Lawrence Pillars hit someone, and then Danny White, and then Stuckey recovered. I don't know. One of those.
Yep.
Yeah, Pillars hit him, and then
Stuckey
Stuckey
recovered.
landed on it. I just remember him holding the ball up at
Yeah.
the end of it.
That was it. Yeah, it's been a while, so my memory. But
All right.
I was literally just watching it
just a
like
few
3
years.
hours ago. Like,
Just a few
that's
years.
just how it
But
works. So.
yeah, and if Eric Wright does not tackle Drew Pearson, the catch disappears.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
I mean, it just would have been a great catch. It wouldn't have been a legendary catch that everyone's talking about.
Right.
So a lot of people forget that. But I don't let them forget, because offense has always sold the tickets and defense has always won championships.
Won the championship.
Applaud that man. Well said, sir.
And it's
Always.
funny you mentioned that because after the Cowboys were vanquished, there was still a Super Bowl to win.
Yes.
And to start that Super Bowl, the opening kickoff is fumbled, and someone, not
Oops.
naming any names, Dwight Hicks, had to pick off Ken Anderson in the end zone to save the offense that sells
Save
the
it.
tickets in this case,
Yeah.
right? Talk a little bit about that, because that in this era of Twitter and social media and all this stuff, I can imagine somebody fumbling the opening kickoff and that immediate swing, like, could be crazy,
Oh,
but
yeah.
that was wild start.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, yeah, I've number one felt something was wrong with me because I was like calm as calm
Really?
when I was warming up, and I'm thinking, geez, there's something wrong with me. I should be ready to go, right? And the thing about that I realized as I look back is I was prepared. And when you're prepared, there's a calmness about you. And it's another game. It's a big game. The hype of the game is for the fans. For us, well, for me, I prepared like it was any ordinary game, which it was, because if you let yourself get too overly excited, you lose sight of what you have to do. You make mistakes. When you're calm, you're in the game, you understand, look, this is what I have to do. I had to make a lot of calls, so I had to be present. I couldn't let anything overwhelm me in my preparation and as I played the game. So I'm looking, first of all, Detroit drafted me. The Super Bowl was played in the Silverdome.
Funny back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I went to the University of Michigan. Their band was warming up in the end zone
Oh,
when I came out on the field.
Wow.
Then when we got ready for the game, Diana Ross is singing the Star Spangled Banner. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Boy, I love this. And as I said, I was calm. I was very calm. But I'm just taking it all in. I'm like, yeah, this is big time here. So then we go to the kickoff. Both benches are like, testosterone and energy is just coming out our ears. They kick off to us. Amos Lawrence fumbles the kickoff, and you could just hear the air go out of our sideline. And for some reason, I jumped up. And I don't know if I could say this on the screen, but I'm going to say
You
it.
can say whatever you want.
Go ahead. You can say whatever you want.
But our bench just went silent. The air. I jumped up and I said, "Come on, motherfuckers! This shit is just getting good."
Yeah.
You will not hear that on NFL films. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
East Coast Red and Gold exclusive.
Thank you.
there you go. Hot takes with the hot licks.
It so happened that I was the guy that made the play.
Mm-hmm.
And that play, we were man-to-man defense. I was not supposed to be there. But I'm telling you, through my preparation, they lined up with 3 wide receivers on one side of the ball. I had the innermost guy. And I'd watched so much film, it wasn't even a conscious thought. But every time I saw that them line up in that formation down in the red zone, the 2 inside guys would go out toward the sideline. Then the outside guy would come underneath, which was Isaac Curtis. And he was supposed to get the ball. And I watched that play time and time again in my preparation. Now we're in the game. I didn't think about it. All I thought about was my man. My man is not going to catch the ball. And when I was with man to man, I never, ever took my eye off the man. As soon as they lined up in that formation, and my guy snapped the ball. My guy started going out. I dropped him. I never do that. I dropped him. I looked outside, and it was like it was slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Isaac Curtis delaying to come underneath. By the time I looked back at the quarterback, he's in his throwing motion. And I just stayed there. He threw it right to me.
Yeah.
Because I was not supposed to be there. And Isaac Curtis had seen enough film on us that when somebody went to the middle, we were knocking people's head off. So when he saw me in there, he just stopped. He could have broken the play up. Like he just stopped. And Anderson threw it right to me, took it back about 20-some yards, and gave our offense some room, and we went down and scored first. So that was the story on that play. And that was the only time in my career that I had ever taken my eye off my man.
Wow.
But it was because of preparation more than anything.
Yeah, you knew what was coming.
It was as if my subconscious knew what was going to happen because I had seen it so much that I just dropped my man and stayed there.
The whole thing was set up for you. The Detroit homecoming, like you were, you had the Detroit like Cinderella story way before Jerome Bettis did. Clearly,
yeah. It's a beautiful thing, and as a kid, watching football, I started playing when I was 12, and that's what you play the game for Super Bowls, and the fact that I was cut twice. And then go to the team that went to the worst team in the league, the San Francisco 49ers, when I first joined them in 79.
Right.
And then to play the pinnacle of what is the NFL, the pinnacle game in the stadium that cut me. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yep.
It doesn't.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Dwight, do you ever look back and think about having gotten to play for Bill Walsh in all of the formative years of building that entire dynasty, and reflect on that and look back and just think, wow, I was part of that. That was something I got to be, I was a key component to that as well. What is that like for you to reflect on being a part of the whole Bill Walsh dynasty?
It's just, I felt and feel that I was very fortunate to have done that. I knew I was good enough to play. I thought I was going to be like a first round pick. That's what I was projected as. And it didn't happen until the 6th round. I was pissed. I go to Detroit. My defensive backfield coach didn't give me the time of day. I think maybe he wanted to draft someone else. But Bo and I didn't get along. Schembeckler from Michigan. He wanted me to grow up to be the kind of guy he thought I should be. And I'm like, no, I'm Anna Hicks's son. And we just clashed, And I mean, the team picked me captain. I wasn't like a head case or anything. It's just that the personalities clash. And then, so I didn't get drafted to the 6th round. They released me. I went up in Canada and played a few games, hurt my ankle, came back down to the States, worked out for Philly. Philly looked like they were going somewhere that year. And I wanted to go back home and play. I grew up right across the bridge from Philly in Pensacola, New Jersey. I was in their camp. I thought I was going to start on that team. Didn't happen. They released me. They went to the Super Bowl that year and lost. And midway through that season, the 49ers picked me up. Tony Dungy was playing free safety. Tony Dungy was a quarterback when I was at Michigan. I played against him. And when I saw Tony there, I just said, Tony, I love you, but don't get hurt. And he got hurt. and I got to play, and the rest is kind of history. But I tell kids all the time, I said, just because you have a setback doesn't mean that's the end. If you believe in yourself and you go after what you want with a burning desire, in time, it will happen. And sure enough, with me, even though I wanted to play for Detroit and then come back home and play with Philadelphia, that was not what was in the plan for me. I had to go to the worst team in the league to realize my dream. And I couldn't have written a script better than that. Really couldn't.
Key building block. That's what you were.
Well, thank you.
One of those keys.
I just feel so fortunate to have played with a bunch of guys and an offensive-minded coach like Bill Walsh, because you look in the NFL and his fingerprints are still all over the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
To this day. Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of these coaches aren't utilizing his strategy like they should, because, I don't understand when it's 3rd and 2 or 3 or 4, and they're throwing the ball 50 yards down the field. I'm like,
10 yards down the field.
Dude,
Makes no sense to me.
We talk about that on this show.
Yes.
4 yards.
Right, Matt?
4 yards. That's all you need. And it's a much more highly percentage pass. 4 yards, 50 yards. Which one are you going to complete the most? It doesn't take a mathematician to figure that one out. But, still, there are coaches that do it. Don't understand it, but, just move the chains. As Hank Stram used to say, just matriculate that ball down the field.
Down the field. Yep. Good old Hank.
And that's what you do. That's what you do.
To follow up on Becca's question a little bit, in the '84 Super Bowl, I believe after the game, you guys gave the game ball. In fact, you gave the speech, giving the game ball to Bill Walsh. Is that something that you guys planned before the game, or is that something you decided after?
No, I was impromptu. Matter of fact, Bill Walsh and I didn't get along. we had a small.
I didn't want to bring that up, but
that's why I thought I'd heard that. That's why I was surprised when I see that highlight all the time.
Well, both at Michigan, Bo had the team pick captains. When I got to San Francisco, the team picked captains, and I was defensive captain. But one thing that I will do, I don't care whether I like you or not. If you do something that's extraordinary, Bill Walsh was one of the most innovative offensive minds I had ever been around. And the game plan that he put together for Miami is beautiful. It's just beautiful. And I would have given George Seifert a game ball too. However, when we were preparing for that game, I had taken film. I took film home with me because I had a projector back then. In the old days, we used to have a little.
Reel to reel.
That was no small cost. Damn. That's
So,
like you are committed to your craft.
Big reel.
Yes.
Back. That's not like you're just loading up your iPad or your phone, right?
And I watched film, and I think I watched maybe 2 days of film, at the office and then at home. And I just saw, wow, they're a passing team. And I thought, gee, if we played our nickel defense from the opening whistle, excuse my expression, lady, but it's a guy thing, they wouldn't piss a drop. That's what I saw. So I go in the next day and I tell Ray Rhodes, who was our position coach, I said, Ray, man, I've been watching film, man. If we start out with our nickel defense, man, they won't piss a drop. They won't score. And he said, yeah, I know. And I'm like, and? And, he didn't have any power, but he just said, I know. So then I go to George, who's our defensive coordinator. And I said, George, I told him the same thing, man. If we open up with our nickel defense, man, they won't even score. And I said, they won't be able to run against us because we have our best athletes in the game too. And he said, well, what about Hacksaw? I was shocked. I'm like, George, we're playing for the Super Bowl. He will get a ring. Mm-hmm. He's just going to have to put his ego aside. If he doesn't start, we're trying to win the game. Yeah. Right. And so we started off in our base defense, platooning 3 and 4 man line. Shula, being the coach that he is, was very sharp. He saw what we were doing. He waited till we got real good and comfortable with Hacksaw in there. And he started going no huddle, so we couldn't substitute and throwing the ball. I'm shocked and appalled.
The audacity.
And they scored 16 points in the first half.
Yeah.
The second half, we played all nickel.
Yep. Donut. Yep.
And that's all we had to do. I mean, it could have been 60-0 or 3 or something like that. Because that 84 team, I'll put against anybody, line up against anybody, anywhere. That team was loaded. And
should have been perfect.
I know there's a lot of Tom Brady fans out there, but I take Joe Montana every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
I'll drink to that.
Twice on Sunday. Me too. Cheers.
So Dwight, we talked about the Miami Super Bowl. You also played in the Cincy Super Bowl that we talked about. Between the two of them, which one did you enjoy playing in more and why? Or is there a favorite or?
I think the first one, because it's like your first love, right? and no one expected us. Our coaches even thought that if we were 8-8 that year, we would be right on schedule. That's what one of the coaches told me.
Oh, wow.
And because the first year I came midway through my first year was 79. We were 2-14. Second year, my first full year, we were 6-10. So they figured if we were 8-8, we'd be right in the mix. And we were 16-3.
Yep.
Yes, you were.
16-3. So we had guys that really believed in ourselves. We had a young team. We had a lot of great athletes. And we felt as a secondary, even though we had 3 rookies, which never happened before and will never, ever happen again. And those guys could play. Ronnie Lott, Eric Wright, and Carlton Williamson. They were competitors. We were hitters. We were just athletes. And we just felt if we played well, we'll win. And needless to say, we didn't do a bad job.
You're pretty good. You're pretty good.
Bad.
We didn't do a bad job. And then I told those guys when they were rookies, after seeing them in camp, I said something to them that they thought I was crazy. But because I know football and I had been in the league for all of a year and a half, and I had been with 2 teams, I said, you guys don't understand this. I said, but we should negotiate our contract as a secondary.
Ooh, strong.
And they were looking at me like I was crazy. Well, fast forward, that was in 81. In 84, we all made the Pro Bowl.
Mhm.
And that's how I saw the potential, and I knew that the way we worked together, we were all on the same page. And the secondary has to communicate all the time. I don't understand when a receiver is wide open because it's like, geez, aren't you guys talking back there? What's going on? And George Seifert made it a point that we were all on the same page. And because I was a free safety, I had to make changes in the defense if they come out in a formation that would make the defense vulnerable. I had to check the defense, check the coverage. And that's another reason why I watched a lot of film, because the defense was depending on me to make the right calls. And George Seifert did not allow you to make one bad call because he would be on your ass. And I made it a point that you won't be on my ass for me.
There you go.
Everybody was in the proper position, and that we were all, you might get a long pass, but it's not going to be a touchdown. It's going to be something where we could line back up and play defense. Now, as a secondary, you're going to get beat. You're going to get beat. It's just a matter of, what are you going to do after that? So we always used to say, defensive backs, we have to have a short memory.
Yeah.
Because there's always the next play.
Exactly.
Right.
So what's more fun, a pick six or acting?
Ooh.
Good pull.
I love storytelling. And that's what we as actors do. But it's nothing sweeter than picking the ball. And
Yeah.
I mean,
I was hoping that was going to be the answer.
It's nothing better than that. And the reason why I say that, acting can be very subjective. You watch Tombstone, which is one of my favorite westerns.
Love that.
And you could watch Wyatt Earp.
Mm-hmm.
And Dennis Quaid did a great job with Wyatt Earp in the portrayal of Doc Holliday. Val Kilmer dropped the mic.
Yeah.
Just dropped it. If there was ever a Doc Holliday, but there's two different ways of seeing a character. And I just happen to like Val Kilmer.
Unbelievable. What a pull. Unbelievable.
I was literally
Completely
wearing
unplanned.
this all day and changed out right before the show.
22.
I switched it for your shirt. I was literally wearing this all day.
Oh man. See,
my God.
That's when you know
Wavelength.
That's when you know you're connected with the universe. When shit like that happens.
Yep.
It just happens.
Yep.
You don't know why, but if you're in
Oh my God.
and you're following what you want to do in life, things will seem to fall into place.
Indeed.
Maybe not in the time that you want, but in time, things just seem to move in your direction. They seem to flow in a very positive way. And that is another sign of that. Wow.
Well said. Wow.
Say a little Easter egg for you there. A huckleberry Easter egg, if you
Huckleberry.
And I was going to say I wore my hat that you signed.
Yes, I see.
That's nothing compared to
Designer
Tom.
stuff all over the place. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I hope they have that energy going into the playoffs now.
Yep, indeed.
Because once Lance went down and then Garoppolo went down, people are thinking, oh,
Season's
but
over.
this kid, there's something inside of him. Boy, he's a competitor. You can tell he prepares. And I think if Garoppolo is not going to be the starting quarterback and Trey Lance will be the future of this franchise, he should hook up with Purdy and study. Because this guy, he's like a veteran. And he goes in, it's like somebody goes out, next man up. Yep. He didn't think, oh, shit, I'm in the game now. No, he prepared. You could tell from the onset. He was ready to play. And I think that Trey Lance could learn a lot from him because looking at Garoppolo has a strong arm. He's going to want to stay in the pocket. And he's going to want to wait till his receiver gets open down the field before he delivers.
Correct.
And all offensive plays is about timing. And there's a clock in the quarterback's head that you know that the pocket is going to be collapsing at any moment if you have decent protection. And Garoppolo knows that. All quarterbacks should know that. So I feel that, get a 4-yard pass. You have athletes, you have receivers and running backs that somebody missed the tackle. Boom. It could be 6 points on a 4-yard pass. So you don't have to wait to, complete that long pass. I mean, that's good for statistics, but it's not going to be, number one, good for your physicality because if you hold on to the ball too much, the rush is coming.
Be in a third and long situation.
The rush
is going to get blown up.
It's coming. Trust me, it's coming. Those other guys on the other side of the ball, they are getting paid too.
Yep.
So that's what you have to understand. But I'd like to see Trey Lance. I hope he's not to take anything away from Garoppolo, but I never have seen Garoppolo just put some air up under the ball and let the receiver go get it. Yeah. He's always trying to pinpoint it, no matter how deep the pass is, whether it's a short pass or a long pass. And I remember Walsh talking to someone about Phil Simms. And he said, I worked out Phil Simms. Phil Simms had a strong arm. He had a gun. He said, and then I asked him to hit the back coming out of the backfield, a little swing pass. And he said he drilled it. And he said, I know you can. He says, just feather, just put a little air up under. Because it's hard to catch the ball over your shoulder coming out of the backfield as a running back. So he said, just feather. And Phil couldn't do it. And he didn't try. I see that Garoppolo doesn't have that. And I see a young quarterback like Lance trying to do and learn from Garoppolo because he's a starter quarterback. And he is an accomplished quarterback. He hasn't won the big game, but, he's got some talent. I mean, the kid can play. But that's what I have not seen that he could do very well. And Purdy does it just beautifully. He just does it beautifully. Like I said, he's a student of the game because he's watched. He's prepared.
And played.
Yeah. He's prepared for if somebody goes down, number one, I know the offense, I know the audibles, I am ready. And then not only that, to be able to, because he didn't have anybody to show him how to feather that ball, unless when he was in high school or college, somebody must have told him about that because he does that so nicely. And that's what I want to look. And when there's nothing there, he gets the hell out of Dodge.
Yep, he'll take off.
He gets the hell out of Dodge.
And can run it. He runs it. He reminds me of the way Montana used to run a little bit, right? You wouldn't have. You didn't think he was a scrambler, but he could run when he had to.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Very underrated part of Montana's game early on was his ability to use his wheels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me. You got to have big gazumbas to sit back there and look for your receiver downfield, knowing that the rush and that pocket is collapsing.
Yeah.
And you still have to be focused down the field. That takes a lot of
Yep.
takes a lot of
Fruits.
So to be able to do that, I mean, number one, you have to have courage. Number two, you have to be a competitor. And number three, you have to know when to get out of dodge. And Montana was very good at that. Was very good at that. And he wasn't looking to run, but if nothing was there, you know, you got to get out of dodge, man. You got to get out of dodge.
Can you tell us a
Or
little
you
bit
got to
about?
get out of Tombstone.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about how Joe Montana was as a teammate, guy in the locker room, how he was with Coach Walsh?
I don't know how he was with Coach Walsh because I wasn't in their meetings. But as a teammate, he was right as rain. He is just a great person, number one. He was a competitor, number two. And he's a practical joker. He's a practical joker. I love Joe Montana. And I may not see him for years and then see him and it's like yesterday. And all the guys. We just had a chemistry of guys that cared for one another. We had players with a high acumen as far as football is concerned, and a professionalism as far as the way we went about our business. We did not like to lose, and I think that was from management all the way to our kicker, our punter, our trainers, everybody. We knew we were good, but we knew what it took to be a winner. And we did not like to lose. I remember one game we were in Houston, and it was a high-scoring game. Warren Moon was their quarterback. And they had some capable receivers. They were pretty good. And we won the high-scoring game. It was like a shootout. And, you know, we got away with a win. We're like, yeah, we got past that one. Well, Barlow came into the locker room and cussed us out.
Wow.
He cussed us out. He said, if I see another display of football like that, all of you will be out of here. He said, if you want to kick ass, you got to bring ass. Okay, but we won. We escaped. Mission was accomplished.
You have to call it escaping when you play in the Astrodome on like painted concrete.
Oh,
basically,
that was an awful feel. It was like stifling because I don't know if there was air conditioning in there or if it was broke or what, but it was hot in there too. And Houston was humid to begin with.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I saw a tweet earlier today talking about how Christian McCaffrey is the greatest midseason pickup of all time. And I feel like a whole bunch of people are forgetting about the guy that's over my right shoulder, Fred Dean. How much easier did the defensive backfield get? How much easier did things get in the defensive backfield when Fred Dean joined the 49ers?
Oh,
Wait, to follow up that, were you licking your chops when Fred came on?
A lot easier because look, I don't care how good your secondary is. If your defensive line isn't getting to the quarterback, it's a long afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have guys that literally are Some guys could be world-class sprinters. Or then you have somebody like Largent that is so unorthodox in the way he runs his routes that he's going to get open. So when you have the pressure on the quarterback, oh man, you could sit back there and because if you wait till the quarterback throws the ball before you make your break as a defensive back, you're just going to be making a tackle. Period. Because those guys are that good. Because the ball's coming out of the quarterback's hand most likely before they're making their break in intermediate passes. And when the quarterback can't throw it on time, has to get rid of it. Ooh, yeah, I like that. Because now when he's cocking his arm like this, you have to be breaking if you're going to make a play on the ball. Because once it's out of his hand, it's too late. Too late. So to get Fred Dean, that made our job a lot easier. Our defensive line, because they could double team, say Lawrence Pillars, they could double team Dwayne Board, and keep everybody else kind of one-on-one. But when Fred came, you better double team, maybe triple team his ass.
Yep.
And see, that left everybody else one-on-one. And those guys were good. Those guys were good. So, the acquisition of Fred Dean, made a huge difference. Huge difference.
I have one more for
Okay.
me.
Go ahead.
You went to Indianapolis
Yes.
after you played for the 49ers.
Yes.
And the reason I bring that up is because the football atmosphere in Indianapolis at that time frame was a little bit interesting. If I remember correctly,
Say the least.
I remember that year, I went through and watched some of the old games and they showed some of the old broadcasts. And that year, like every team, when they'd show the scoreboard, they'd show the city, right? Like Miami, Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh, he froze on us.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
We-
no.
He'll buffer back.
It's a problem Matt has occasionally.
That's okay.
Oh no.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
There we go. See?
Wow. All right. So
Time
you
warp.
go. That was
Time
so
warp.
weird.
Yeah.
That was- hold on. Let me Doctor Strange back in
See,
here.
it's all of this positive energy in one
right.
spot
Yeah,
at
blew it
one
all up.
time. It has an effect in the universe in a different way too sometimes.
Clearly. But you're going to a city that's brand new at the pro football game, right? Like
Yeah.
they're like they don't even show the city name in the score, right? They show Colts versus Miami, Colts versus whatever. Like they don't show that it's Indianapolis. Because they had just moved in from Baltimore. What was that like, and what was the difference between the communities kind of going back and forth? I feel like that's a huge
There
difference.
it was like a culture shock. I used to call it India nowhere. I kid you not. And there were some good guys on that team as far as the team is concerned. But there were some guys, I mean, the mindset, even in the coaching. Like I was used to being able to talk with defensive coordinator and the coaches about what I thought, they're obviously going to have the last say, but I was used to talking to coaches and some of these coaches, their ego are so big when they shouldn't be. And I would just look at our defensive coordinator and I saw that they were having a problem with coverage in the I'll get to the city in just a second. But and I was used to, running the things back there. I knew what I was doing. I talked to George. We'd have communication. Sometimes I would, like in the Miami game, the Super Bowl, we never switched, but like I said, I watched film all the time when they came out with Nat Moore right beside Joe Rose. Third down, pick play. Every time I'm like, fuck, he comes underneath every time. And I had to cover Nat Moore. So I'm like, shit, if I line up out there, I'm going to get picked. So I told Carlton, I said, Carlton, see that? Let me line up inside, and I'm going to cover Nat Moore from inside because he comes inside 100%. He said, oh, no, Dwight. He said, I can't cover Nat. I said, you won't have to, man. I'm going to be covering him from inside. He wants to come inside. I'm taking that away with my alignment.
Mm-hmm.
I said, Marino is going to want to hit him. He's going to have to hold the ball. And by that time, who knows? Our defensive line, our rush is going to get there. He's not going to run. I said, he's going to want to get rid of it. Shit, he might throw it right to you. That's what happened in the Super Bowl. George saw us and doing that, and he says, what are you guys doing? I said, well, George, I see that I've been watching film. He comes inside 100% of the time, so I'm going to take it away with my alignment. He said, but we don't switch. I said, I'm not switching. I'm going to cover him, but from in here. He was pissed. He's like, but we don't switch. I said, George, trust me. And he bites his lip. He used to fight his lip all the time. Just make sure you're on the same page, and he walks away. Carlton gets an interception on that play.
Mm-hmm.
When I was at Indianapolis, they were having some problems in the red zone, and we would double the outside guy. There would be two receivers on one side and a split end on the other side. Well, they'd get in the red zone. We double the split end, the single receiver side, and we would double the inside guy on the strong side. Well, and if the inside receiver went cross motion, what they were trying to do is now double the outside guy of the two receiver side that was only the singles receiver now, and then double the guy in motion. So the defensive back that had the single receiver on the weak side would now have no help because that guy that was helping him is now going to be doubling the guy coming in motion. Pretty simple concept, but they weren't getting it. Every time we got in the red zone, this was before I got there, and I didn't start right away because I wasn't in their camp. But I was watching film and I saw what they were doing, and every time we get in the red zone, cross motion, boom, touchdown. Cross motion, touchdown. I'm like, and I told my secondary coach, I know this is an easy concept, but obviously they're not getting it. I said, why don't you let the guy that's going in motion, let that defensive back just stay with him and double the outside guy. And he said, yeah, I know. But nothing happened. So finally, when I got in the game, we're playing, who were we playing? Who was in our division? We're playing Buffalo. They come down, they get in the red zone, they cross motion, they finally do what I thought would be the better thing to do. I get an interception. I come off to the sideline, and instead of being happy for us, we won this one. The coordinator looks at me like, fuck, you think you know it all.
I'm happy. I'm not surprised that happens, but what? This is a results-based business, and you're getting
literally won you the game.
This is what you have when you don't have a good culture in the locker room with the coaches and the players. It's like, hey, we're in this together, but but the city. It's bigger now. My wife is a costume designer, and I went back there. She was designing a play at the I forget what theater is there, but I went back and met her there, and it's grown a bit. But it's still, you get outside of downtown India, nowhere. Indian.
My daughter
Indian
calls
next
it
to Chicago.
Indian
Yeah,
Ocean.
exactly.
Yeah, and it's like, and then coming from San Francisco, where we were the talk of the town. I remember when we were traveling, we would travel in a regular plane, and then our regular plane, something was wrong with it, so we took a DC-10 back then, and it's a big plane. We won, and DeBartolo says, "Well, if you guys keep winning like this is how we would travel." We kept winning.
There you go.
That's how we travel. We had our own chef on the plane when we came back from trips. It was just great. And when I went to Indianapolis, we were in a small plane with bag lunches. With condiments.
Bag lunches.
Condiments.
Oh wow, that's some mustard and mayo for you.
Yeah.
The mustard and mayo. They used to put that in
Yep.
my MREs in the Army. Yes, it was great.
It's like,
yeah.
Dorothy, you're not
Tasty
in
Kitchen
Kansas
or something.
anymore.
Kastee. Yes.
So it was a pretty drop in that respect. It was drop, and they did not have. There's some good players on that team, but just wasn't a winning atmosphere. And when I got there, now I'm the kind of like the odd guy out, because here I'm all pro. I came from a winning organization. I did my job. I made friends with guys, but still it was like, you're still not one of us, which is horseshit. It's like, I'm wearing the same jersey, dude. We're trying to do the same thing. Come on, get off of that bullshit.
We've
Let's
literally
go.
been in this town for a year. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. But that's a difference in the culture. And it really does take a nucleus of guys to really want to come together and bring the team together. Because when you have that, that's a nucleus. That nucleus could be very instrumental in bringing everybody together.
It's infectious.
Yes.
And it just spreads throughout the locker room.
Yes. It's like, just as I was telling you about what happened in the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl, when we fumbled the opening kickoff. I mean, the fact that everybody went, oh, and the air goes out. Well, if I go out there, oh shit, here we go. Fuck, they score. Excuse my expression, ladies. They score. It's like, no, somebody has to say, come on, shit, this is just getting good. Let's go. And then that picks everybody back up again.
Yep.
We
Right.
go in and then we make a stop. It's a
Champions act like champions before they're champions.
That's correct.
Exactly.
Yes.
That is correct. And that I had been with a championship mentality. The first time I played football, I really didn't know much about the terminology and all that, organized football. But the first year I played, we won a championship. And so I was used to that. The second year, and we got a trophy and a jacket. And then the second year, we came in second. We got nothing. It's not, there was no participation, or
No free ice cream.
for the goodies, for the treats. I said, no.
No bag lunches.
Yeah, it's like you win or you lose. And I did not like losing. So, high school, I won a championship. College, I won a championship. And then I go to the worst team in the league. I'm like, we got to change this here. So, I would always, when the offense would come off the field, don't worry about it. We're going to get the ball back. Come on, get your head up. Let's go.
Mhm.
There's no time to sulk, man. We're on a mission. and you have to do your job. Each guy has to do their job to the best of their ability. And when you have a whole team with that type of attitude, like you said, it's contagious and it's infectious, and it changes the chemistry, the atmosphere, everything about the team changes. And that's what we had at San Francisco. And I was very fortunate to be a part of that.
So last one for me, Dwight, this year's team, if you can talk a little bit about this year's team and the defense, and specifically Talanoa Hufanga.
Ooh, he has a motor. He has a motor. He could have played with us. He could have played with us. What a talent. He anticipates. He's just plays fast. His recognition is like that. You can tell he studies film too, because he wouldn't be able to react like that. He sees something, he recognizes it, he goes. There's some guys that I played with, good athletes, but in the defensive secondary, if you see something and you know it, you have to react. If you see something and you recognize it, you can't have a doubt, because if you have a doubt, you're beat. You're going to get beat. This guy plays with a confidence and an urgency that I like. I mean, he makes plays, and you can tell he's a student of the game because his reaction time is really quick. I like him a lot. And the fact that their defensive line brings it. They bring it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, hey, guys, it's a party in their backfield. Let's go. Who's going to get hunting first?
Yep.
Don't be late.
Yep.
Don't be late. And that's great. And I think that they have a really good chance of doing it, because they have all the pieces. And even with Purdy, I mean, Purdy has shown he is up for the challenge. I mean, he is not a weak link. That's for damn sure.
Yep.
So it's like, come on, guys. Are you going to come with me? I'm with you. Or are you going to be with me? And it seems like that's what they're doing. They have a great culture, a great attitude, and you can tell they care about each other too. That's a big point. The only thing I don't like, and this not just with the 49ers, is with the league in itself, the mentality of the guys, but they grew up in a different era. It's like, look, I know when you do well, you want to, beat your chest, get the fans. This I really don't get when they get the fan, tell the fans to cheer. To me, it's like, do something. I guarantee they'll cheer. Don't waste your energy doing this. But like I said, it's different. And it's becoming more entertaining. These guys are coming up with these dances in the end zone. And I like, work on your technique. Fuck, don't work on that shit, because they're doing it. They're working on that bullshit.
Yep.
Study film.
Yep.
Celebrate later.
I saw a team go down, sit in the end zone like they're in a canoe about 6 feet. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I'm with you.
You're on a football game, dude. And there's time on the clock. I just don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't.
My biggest pet peeve is the defense making a play, getting a turnover, and they all run down to the end zone.
That's what
It started
to
during
start taking
COVID, and it
pictures.
needs to just stop.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
with you on
like,
that.
it's the first quarter. There's 3 more quarters to go. What are you celebrating?
Like,
Well,
the game isn't over.
happened. That's what happened when they played Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Nope.
When they got an interception, it's late in the game. What, maybe 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes,
It was
something
more
like
than that.
Huh?
It was more than that, but it was the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's the fourth quarter. Okay, so what? 8 minutes, maybe?
Yeah.
8 minutes. And if the offense, could hold the ball, they were up by a couple scores. Were they up by a couple scores? I think so. Anyway, by 10 points.
10, yeah.
They're up 10. And, if Shanahan would have had better clock management, that too.
Yeah, that was the problem in that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, come on, let's milk this clock a little bit. But anyway, that just gets me. It's like, or when a defensive back makes a play and they go like that, right? Like, look at the score. You're losing 30-3. Yeah. And you're doing this.
You're a shutdown, though. Yeah.
Showboating.
I love it when the quarterback just like completely throws the ball out of bounds. No one can catch it at all, and the defensive back is like,
yeah.
Like incomplete. Like they have officials that make that call. You don't.
You did nothing.
Right.
Your buddy, you should be thanking your defensive lineman that got in there to make him throw it out of bounds.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because you were beat, by the way.
Yeah.
You were beat, by the way. You just didn't have time to get it to your receiver. I mean, and I think it's a generational thing, and it's morphed into that. Unfortunately, if I were a coach, that would be one of my pet peeves. Or when somebody makes a sack, and their teammates are trying to congratulate him, and they're moving them out of the way so they can single themselves out to do this. Like, fuck. He just took on a double team so you could get.
So he freed you up. Yep.
You got to go beat his chest and say thank you. Well, I just don't get that. But they all are into that. And I guess if they're together as a team, this is what they do. This is what gets them.
They do.
Yeah, this is what they do. But as a coach, that I would say I never want to see a guy single themselves out when there are 10 other guys in there to help that you do whatever you did. So if a guy, your teammate is coming to congratulate you and you push him away, I'm fining your ass. I may not be able to bench you, but I'm fining you.
Yeah. Team fine.
Yeah.
There you go.
But that's just me. That's just me. I'm old school. But with the 49ers, you have to be excited about the way they treat each other.
Oh yeah.
You can tell they're together as a team, even in some of their antics.
They do seem very gracious and humble at the podium. Yeah. They will give.
Humble, no, but
well, I mean, they do give props to their teammates for everything that happens on the field.
It kind of goes into that whole they care about each other thing, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Under the bus or any of that.
Right.
They do care about each other. It just pissed me off in that Kansas City game when they got the interception. They went down in the end zone and took a pose for a picture. I'm like, there's 8 minutes left.
Yeah, what are you doing?
There's 8 minutes left. Do that shit after the game.
Save that for Arizona.
Yeah, that part.
Right.
Yeah. That part. Yeah. But they're an exciting team to watch too. I think Shanahan. He's a very good offensive mind. I just would like to see him when it's 3rd and 4. Get the first
Mhm.
He's been doing that this year. He has
And
been
you
doing that.
have guys all over the field on the offense that get the ball on a 4-yard pattern and can take it to the house. You have so much speed, so much athleticism. And now with McCaffrey in the backfield, geez. Well, they had Mozart too. Mozart was faster than McCaffrey. But it's just I don't know what it is. I don't know why they got rid of Mozart. But anyway, McCaffrey is a guy that could take it to the house too. And they have a lot of exciting guys and athletic guys that when they get their hands on the ball, they can take it out. You don't have to be going deep down the field all the time. You only do that just to keep them. Well, put it this way: if you dink and dunk, trust me, you're going to be able to go deep because somebody's going to bite on something.
Mhm.
That's when you throw it deep. It's like, but just take the ball down the field. I mean, it's nothing worse to a defense when a team could just methodically take the ball first down. Every time you turn around, first down. It's like shit, you know. I mean, and I'm telling you, and especially with the offense and defensive lines, when they're handling their opposition and you can't stop them, I mean, that's demoralizing. It's like, when we were playing, it was more of a running game. However, Walsh would use a 3-4 yard pass like a run.
Extension of the run.
Yep.
And
extension of the run game.
And teams, that would piss people off because you can't stop it. And it's like a machine. You just keep moving the chains. And by the fourth quarter, man, that defense is worn out. Mm-hmm. And defensively, if you're getting across and reestablishing the line of scrimmage in the offensive back on the offensive side of the ball, that's demoralizing. And that's what we were able to do. And I think I see a lot of the 81 team in this team. Because that's what they do. They just keep moving the ball.
Yep, they do.
Keep moving the ball down the field. First downs here and there, out of the backfield, boom, boom, boom. Then you might go up top. But, hey, everybody does their part. And you sacrifice stats for W's. Mm-hmm. And that's, And is Debo, by the way, is he coming back this week?
Debo's back. He played on Sunday.
Yep.
Oh, he did?
He'll be out there. Yeah.
See that game because I'm here in Atlanta, so I didn't get to see that game. How did he look? Is he okay? Was he moving all right?
Yeah, he looked fine.
Yeah, he looked good. Good. Elijah Mitchell too was back and played amazing.
Yeah, because the defense, I know in the early part of the season, they were banged up, and now they were healthy. Like after about the 10th game, it seemed like everybody got healthy.
Yeah,
and there were some guys that went down on the offense. Are they healthy now too? Now, because I don't get the games like.
Everyone's getting healthy at the right time.
Yeah. And that's very imperative too if you're going to make a run for it.
Which is a rarity for this team in recent years. So.
Yes.
Take it.
What'd you say?
I was going to say that's a rarity for this team in recent years.
Yeah,
so, we'll take
exactly.
It at this point.
They've in crucial times been banged up.
Dwight, speaking of banged up, back in the day, there was these band of men referred to as Dwight Hicks and his hot licks. Why y'all was out there hitting them boys like that?
Because we can. You can't do that much anymore.
Those are the rules back then.
They have this thing that I don't know where they got it from, a defenseless receiver. It's like there is no such thing because I'm chasing their ass all game long. And when I get a chance to lay somebody out to even the playing field, boom, all it takes is one good one. And now their concentration wanes a little bit.
They don't want to come over the middle no more.
It wanes a little bit. Yeah.
Start seeing ghosts.
Exactly. Well,
they was hearing the footsteps.
There was a quarterback that played for the Rams. Back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Jim Everett.
Everett. He was back, and he had been rushed a couple times and hit a few times in the game, and one time he dropped back. And like I said, quarterbacks have this clock in their head. No one was around him. He just folded up. That's what a pass rush can do.
Yep.
Watched Tony Eason do that in a game against Tampa in 1988. There's nobody around him. He just kind of took a knee on a third down because in his head he's like, "Oh, that's it."
They're
coming. What is happening here?
Yeah, that's right. It takes a lot of courage to stand back there and keep your focus down the field to look for a receiver, because guys they're coming, man, and they're coming with bad intentions. Yeah.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Lay you onto that green concrete.
We're coming with bad intentions.
We got the New Jersey crowd here, and we're on the backyard of Giant Stadium, and we all know about Odell Beckham's one-handed catch known around the world.
Yeah.
But Mr. Hicks, you had some one-handed INTs in your day with no gloves.
Well, that's because I relied on my hands. What a concept.
I know.
A defensive back that can catch passes. Who knew that would be something you would need?
I mean, my nephew put on Facebook a highlight reel that this guy put together for me, and it was one in a Giant game. I think there was one in the Pittsburgh game, and another one at another time where I was diving for, the pass was coming and it's low, and I dove for it, and I'm like, shit, I look like a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see guys
some hands
anymore. Yeah. It's like when the ball's in the air, you're supposed to think it's mine. Mm-hmm. and you go to the ball like it's yours. And I don't know. Maybe I'm too critical of these guys sometimes. I just don't. I don't get it. It's like
you went most of your career without wearing gloves, right?
The only time I really wore gloves, for the most part, is when it's cold. We had those big scuba gloves that had a pretty good grip. But more than anything, they kept your hands warm. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I did that I think more defensive backs should do is when I was warming up, the quarterbacks, when they throw the ball, there's a snap to it. They're professionals. There's a snap. And when the ball hits your hand, it pops. And you can't get that just playing catch with somebody on the sideline or when you're warming up with your defensive coordinator. So I would take time before a game when the quarterback and receivers were behind the bench. I know Joe, Dwight, and Freddie, and who was a Guy Benjamin and Matt Cavanaugh. They would be behind the bench throwing, just playing catch, Yeah. And I wanted to get used to that ball hitting my hands with a pop, especially if I'm running forward, because the receivers are running away from it, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to be running forward, so it's going to be even more of a pop. So I wanted to get the feel of that. So when it did hit my hand, I'm not going to be bouncing off for the most part. when I get my hands on it's going to be mine. And I don't know if defensive backs do that, but I know that it helped me a lot by doing that.
Wow.
It helped me a
Genius. You're ahead of your time, man.
Well, it's just, I tried to do things for the most part to better my skill level.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what it's about. It's about skill. I played a skilled position. Receivers, running backs, tight end, they're skilled positions. Quarterbacks is a skilled position. So you do the things you need to do to better your skill. And that's what I tried to do.
Awesome. All right, now I'm going to play a little game with you.
Okay.
It's called...
I don't have to put my hands between my legs, do I?
Nope.
None of that. Don't have to do any of that.
You have to pull a ball from behind your leg.
Exactly.
I don't know where this is streaming to.
It's just a thinker game. It's a thinking game.
I ain't going to go there. I ain't going to go there.
Clear.
He will not be my Huckleberry. All right.
Is that what the kids call it nowadays?
Oh,
my goodness. Okay. It's a
Okay.
simple game. It's called Start, Cut, Bench.
Start,
Start, bench, and cut. All right.
Start, bench, and cut.
And cut. Yeah. Now, since you are a safety, I'm going to give you safety groups, and you got to tell me out of these groups, who would you start, bench, and then cut?
Okay. Now,
Okay.
What, the guys playing now?
I'm going to give you the names.
Okay,
Here we go.
because I don't know all the. I don't watch it that closely. I appreciate a good game.
Well, these are from some years ago. Yeah. Here we go.
Game. Let's go.
So here we go.
Okay.
Group 1 is safety group. Dante Whitner and Deshaun Golson. Number 2 is Tim McDonald and Merton Hanks. 3 is Ronnie Lott and Jeff Fuller. Who would you start? Who would you bench? Who would you cut?
Now,
Out of those 3 pairs.
I have to pick 4 of them.
No, out of those 3 pairs.
Would you
which
cut
2?
Yeah,
like they were wrestling tag teams, right? And who's the best tag team? In this case, it's who's the best safety.
Yeah, you're building your safety group.
Because my memory isn't that great.
It's okay. It's Dante Whitner and Deshaun Golson. And then Tim McDonald and Merton Hanks.
I'd start Golson because I'd start him.
You start Whitner and Golson as your strong safety and free safety.
Oh, you mean together?
Together, yeah. I mean together. So you got your strong safety and free safety. Let's start over. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm giving you your strong safety and free safety.
And free safety. Okay.
Right. So you got Whitner and Golson together.
Okay.
Then you got Tim McDonald and Merton Hanks together.
Uh-huh.
Then you got Ronnie Lott and Jeff Fuller together.
I'd have to pick Ronnie and Jeff.
Mm-hmm. That's your starters.
Fuck yeah. Oops, excuse me, lady.
No.
Yeah, good. I swear at us all the time. I love how you're apologizing.
The reason why
Jersey.
Yeah, I don't have to apologize. I'm from Jersey.
Exactly.
That's right. That's right.
I've been away for a while. Jeff was like a freak of nature, man. I mean, people forget him, and Jeff was 6'3", 220, ran a 4.4.
Run. Mm-hmm. Speak on it.
And that's why I say
That's like
he played linebacker in college.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a defensive back in our scheme. So that's why I told George, if we played nickel, they wouldn't piss a drop because Jeff would be a linebacker. You're not going to run on him, and you damn sure aren't going to pass on him because the speed.
Yep.
And Ronnie, Jeff, God, I had to start them.
Yeah.
Merton, I like.
Mm-hmm.
Mert, I don't know.
Tim McDonald and Merton Hanks. So now you got to bench one and
Tim
cut
was
one.
damn good, strong safety.
Yeah, Tim McDonald and Merton Hanks, and then it's Dante Whitner and Deshaun Golson. Which one of those would you choose as your bench?
Tim was really,
Backups.
Tim was
These are
really good,
backups.
and Mert was good. God, that's a tough one there. That's a tough one. I'd toss up. I
Okay.
It's
Either one. All right.
I'd interchange it. I'd start one in a few series.
There you go. All right. Flip them. Rest them. Rotate them.
Because
All right.
He's gonna rotate them.
I want to give them both their props, you know.
Okay.
Starter,
We'll go with that.
bench, practice squad.
Squad.
like
That's
it.
the same thing I was thinking.
I like
What did you say, Maddie?
Yeah,
What
it's
did you
practice
say?
squad instead of cutting.
Yeah, we won't cut them. We'll put them on the practice squad. So
There
we'll
you
bring
go.
them up
We can call them
anytime
on
we want to.
See,
right?
we didn't have practice squad, so
Yeah.
they'd be on the bench. They'd be on
Maybe.
they'd be on the bench, but they'd get into the. I'd play them. I'd play them. We didn't have practice squad. We had 53 guys, and we had IR. And either you're on a 53-man squad, you're on IR, or you're gone.
Yeah.
And there was, I think too, the league has changed when they expanded to 4 more teams because the talent became diluted. Because, you know, I started hearing commentators like when Palomalo went down on Pittsburgh's defense. Oh yeah, their defense is really hurting. You know, Palomalo's out of the game. I'm like, what? One guy? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And the quarterback, you know, goes, oh, there goes our team. Are you kidding me? Matt Cavanaugh threw the long ball better than Joe. So when Joe I think in the 84 season, Joe missed, I think, 4 games or something like that. Shit, we didn't miss a beat with Matt. We did not miss a beat. And also I remember when, not to take anything away from what's McCaffrey's father's name?
Ed.
Ed. He was on his way out of the league. They expanded, I think, the next year because the 49ers were going to cut him.
Yeah.
The league expanded. 3-4 years later, McCaffrey's an all-pro. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. What? Are you kidding? Because, I mean, the guy had some talent. Let's face it. He had some talent. But an all-pro? No. I'm sorry. It's, you know, I call it how I see it.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to.
I lost a gig with KTVU, Fox affiliate. They were the 49ers station because when Nolan was there and who was it? Alex Smith was getting his head taken off there.
Yep.
And they're messing up 2-minute situations before halftime and at the end of the game. And I just said, you know, look, this is the last thing they went through in practice yesterday. How could you, I didn't say, how could you fuck that up? This is the last thing you did yesterday. You know, so, you know, I blamed it on, you know, the coaches. And, you know, I was calling out things that ineptness when I saw fit. And in order for KTVU, because we had a guy going in the locker room for interviews after the game, and me and Marky Banyas was on the field. And then when they stopped doing that, we were at the station doing the post-game show. And yeah, I was calling it like they did not like it. And in order for us to get into the locker room, they probably said, you know, you want your passes? Hicks has got to go.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Because
handle the truth.
I was just calling it like I saw it, man. It's like if I don't tell the truth and someone that really knows football and I say something, what the hell is he talking about?
Yeah.
Didn't he used to play?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to be that guy. So, I told him how I saw it. Yeah. Yeah. But now it's different. I mean, you hear Charles Barkley and these guys, crucify some of these guys, which they needed. Yeah, because they tell it like it is. Stephen A., get him the fuck out of here because he never put on a uniform.
Nope.
And you can't criticize. You can, commentate. You can give a scenario, but you can't. I heard him say something about Kevin Durant. Oh, Kevin Durant doesn't deserve that much money. I'm like, what? Who are you to be saying anybody deserves anything? Suppose they came to your job and say, you're full of shit. You're a hot bag of air. You don't deserve the contract you're getting. Now, they could say that.
Yeah.
All right. But, have you ever been on the court, dude? Have you ever strapped up anything? Have you ever put on a jock strap besides gym class? No. So
just a talking head. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And another guy is Chris Sims. Chris Sims.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Him and Shanahan are best friends, though.
Huh?
Him and
I
Shanahan
don't know
are
about
longtime
that.
best friends.
I know they're
Shanahan,
friends.
That's what Sim says.
Chris
They
Sims
got their
and
names tattooed on
Shanahan.
each other's bodies. This is a
That's
fact.
what Chris Sims says, not Kyle
Exactly.
Shanahan. They are
Well,
friendly.
I
I don't
mean-
know about best friends though.
Yeah, they were roommates in college, from what I
Yeah,
saw.
we know
from what I
that.
heard,
And
so.
Chris
Yeah.
was his quarterback.
Were
We'll
they
see.
playing that game that you were playing, reaching down? Maybe
I
so.
don't know. That's a whole other scenario.
Hey, put it this way. I'm not going to judge him. I'm not
No
one
judgment.
To judge. I'm not one to judge. I just call it how I see it. Yeah, but I mean,
You're a 4-time Pro Bowler, so I think you have some latitude to criticize and critique. You know what you're talking about. So
well,
Right.
I like to be fair. I don't like to judge too harshly, but if you do something stupid, if you, it's like, hey, dude, what are you doing? Coach, what are you doing? It's like Pete Carroll against the Patriots. You have Marshawn Lynch. You're on the 1 yard line. Time is running out. I'm going to tell you guys, he is going to get the ball. He's coming right there. Stop him.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Frank Gore.
pass the ball. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
And somebody said to me, yeah, but if he completes the pass, he's a genius. I said, did you see what happened?
Yep.
Did he complete the pass?
Right?
No, it was intercepted. It cost them the game.
Exactly.
He's getting the ball. He's coming there. Stop him. And if I was Russell Wilson, the kind of guy I am, I would have called an audible. I would have given it to Marshawn Lynch. He would have scored the touchdown. They win the game. And if somebody has something to say, I said, I saw something there I didn't like, so I just gave it to Marshawn.
Yep.
And now we got a ring.
Oh.
And
I don't think anybody would have been mad at you like in Indianapolis for that.
Pardon? Oh, what'd you say?
I was gonna say I don't think this is gonna be like Indianapolis. Like
Yeah.
Madison for doing
Exactly.
that.
We won the
If
Super
you'd done
Bowl.
that, I think it would have been a completely different scenario. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, Dwight, we appreciate your time.
Yes,
you
sir.
know what? You guys
This
call
was
me
fun.
anytime. I had a great time with you guys. Jersey's still in my heart.
Jersey, it's been a
Jersey.
pleasure.
And the Niners, yeah.
Last question. How's the granddaughter? How's the grandbaby?
Oh God. She's such a love.
Oh,
She calls me Papa and I melt.
well, that's
Let
what
me see if I can bring up a picture. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I have two granddaughters. One's 16. One is Sky Rose is 15 months, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say like little baby, right?
Yeah,
Baby.
she's just a love. She's just a love. Let me see if I can pick something up here real quick. Because I Zoom call her like 3 times a week. She just amazes you.
Aw.
Or amazes me, yeah.
And they're there in Atlanta, right, where you're at now?
No, they're both. All my grandkids are in California.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
wow.
My youngest daughter, Sky Rose, her and her hubby, they are in Northern California, and my oldest daughter, my two grandkids, are in Southern California. Max and Sabella Blue. Sky Rose is in Northern California. Sabella Blue is in Southern California, and Max is in Southern California. Jeez, I
I
can't.
know you had the older grandkids. I just knew you had the young ones. So
Oh no,
awesome.
I have a little experience.
Papa was a Rolling
Couple.
Stone.
Yeah. You know what? I can't find it. I'm just
All
having
right.
That's
time.
okay.
All right.
Maybe the
Yeah.
next time I'll have them. The
Next
first
time.
thing we'll do that and get done.
Next time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But hey, it's been real. I love
Yes.
chopping up with you guys.
been
Thank you,
Anytime.
Dwight.
Pleasure. Thank
Call
you
me
so
out.
Thank
much,
you, man.
Dwight.
I really appreciate the candor and me not overstaying my welcome with you.
Never.
No,
Never.
never.
Great
No,
stuff.
it's been a great time. It's been so much fun. Thank you again.
You guys be easy, peace, and have a wonderful year.
You too. Take
You
You
too,
care.
my friend. Thank
Dwight.
you.
Take care. Thanks so much.
You're very
Go
welcome.
Niners.
Go Niners.
Go Niners. Dwight Hicks. Look at that. That's awesome.
That was great.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun for sure.
That was awesome.
I think it went about as well as you could ask, right? Like,
Yes.
having everything going.
For sure.
You know, one thing I did want to mention as we transition from Dwight Hicks into getting ready to talk about the Seattle Seahawks coming into town, I want to remind you that we are on IE Sports Radio, and that for the last 8 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content, ranging from interviewing legendary athletes like, say, Dwight Hicks, for example, or to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, the whole thing is continued to be by the fans and for the fans, with your help, ready to take the next step. Patreon link is at iesportsradio.com. That is the website. There's 5 different tiers. The first one starts at $5 a month. That donation gets you shout outs on all the shows. The higher tier includes IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to podcast review, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of the flagship show, The Defining Moment. Again, thanks everyone to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. And again, that's iesportsradio.com. Now, let's get on to this wild card game.
Yes. But first,
First.
don't forget to like and subscribe to us, by the way.
Yeah, that's a
We
thing.
are going to
Tell your
do,
friends.
yes, tell your friends. We are going to do a t-shirt giveaway.
Yes, indeed.
Here's a t-shirt.
Cute.
All you got to do is pick a number.
Enter
Ty,
your
leave
numbers.
that to you.
Between 10 and 40.
10 and 40.
That's right.
33.
Randomly.
Where's
You
Brian?
cannot pick 3, Brian.
33.
But you could do 33. I'm just saying. But enter numbers between 10 and 40 in the chat, and we'll do a random drawing.
And while you guys are picking your numbers, let's move on to the playoffs, wild card
baby.
game.
Playoffs.
Let's
Booked my flight.
go.
Flight's booked.
Playoffs.
We're good.
Flights are
Woo!
booked. Awesome.
Flight is booked.
Woo!
Flight is booked. Provided the
great.
FAA doesn't have a hiccup tonight, like they did this morning. I don't know what the hell that was all about.
Do
Let's
not
do that
speak
again.
that back into
I
existence,
know.
please.
I don't know
Matt,
what the
I'm
hell
going
was
to be
terrible.
on kayak.
I'm like, I don't need this stuff. Like, I don't need it.
Now all we need
don't
is
need
Becca to book her stuff.
She's just gonna book her. She has a ticket, so you know. It's
I'm
good.
going to be looking
Ticket
for
with food
out on
inclusive.
kayak tonight. We're doing it.
Positive
Well, I might
vibe.
need a place to sleep,
Good
so
stuff.
that part.
I can see it now. Jess is like, we got a sofa bed. Come on in.
Yeah, right.
Or
I could
I
probably
can
figure
tell
out
you
something.
when we're done. I'll tell you a story about one of those kind of trips.
It reminds me of my military days when we'd actually not use the shower. There'd be 2 hotel rooms. One bathtub would be just full of ice, and then you'd put
Beer.
everything in there. And then like I don't know how many people would sleep in between the rooms. Like it
Oh
was
my gosh.
there were some large numbers. It's
Like
wild.
a clown car.
Yeah, it was. It was a clown car. 100%.
All right. So this started, obviously, the opponent is announced. We're playing Seattle. All of a sudden, it's the last time we played Seattle in the playoffs and all those pictures. And then last year, we beat the Rams twice and lost to them in the NFC Championship game. This year, we sweep the NFC West. Obviously playing each team twice. We beat the Seahawks twice. Now we're playing them for a third time. And do these comments bear any weight going into this game on Saturday?
I mean, for historical purposes, sure. Right?
I think
Like
they
at
do.
the end of the day.
You're playing the people who know you the best, so it's never a sure thing.
For me, no. Like people always want to, like they're bringing up the last playoff game that was a decade ago. Has no relevance on Sunday.
That's
We
true.
played Seattle early in the year. Let's face it, they had injuries. We had injuries at the time. Both teams were different. They were a little different.
Reminder, they killed our starting quarterback, our first starting quarterback,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah,
They killed him.
Exactly. Like this is, to me, the slate is clean, especially as playoffs. The slate is clean. Anything can happen. So right now, both teams are 0-0.
Yep.
That's your record. And you got to go into it as we got to win this game. Just win and keep going. That's it. What happened in the past doesn't resonate really. There are elements you can take from it. But right now, both teams are 0-0.
You're 100% right, Ty. And to follow up on that, you can learn from the history of this stuff because I've seen a lot of overconfidence, I think, this week on social media.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen a lot of like 87 49ers Vikings vibes, right? Like that 87 49ers team was really good. And Anthony Carter got hot, and that was it, right? I'm sorry, Tyler Lockett and
DK
Metcalf. Either one of those guys could have an Anthony Carter day. Okay. And that's all it takes.
Yeah.
So calm down. I don't care if they cover the 9.5 point spread.
Right.
I don't care if they win by 1. They just need to win. They just got to survive and advance. And I don't expect this game to be a blowout.
Right.
No.
Not because I think Seattle's some great, amazing team, but 1, they made the playoffs. 2, they did the things they need to do. And 3, say whatever you want about Sneaky Pete, but the dude pulls stuff out of his hoo-ha in every game against us. Even in games that they don't win, he still pulls stuff out. So whatever it is, whatever tricks he's got up the sleeve, like this is a chance for Kyle to kind of slay that dragon in the playoffs, right? And really show that he's like, okay, I figured this out. I can do this. And I'm going to be real excited to see a healthy Brock Purdy against this Seattle defense. Because remember, the last time he played them, he was playing with a torn oblique muscle on 4 days.
Right.
And he didn't throw the ball until what, Wednesday night or something? Like,
Yeah.
you're actually going to get a fully operational Death Star in Brock Purdy against the Seattle defense on Saturday afternoon.
and fresh legs in Elijah Mitchell as well as
Elijah
Debo
Mitchell.
Samuel.
Yeah.
Correct. Very fresh legs on
Yeah.
both. They're going to be spry and salty.
I don't think that the game is going to be as close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think we'll actually, at least 2 scores, I think.
Thinking like
2, 3
23-13.
scores.
See,
Okay.
I was thinking 27-17.
I
Same
want to
10-point
say
lead.
38-20, right? Like
As long as
I do too.
To me, it's just one of those games that's going to be. It's a Saturday afternoon game early, so that's a weird ass body clock game, right?
Yep.
You're not used to playing Saturday at 1:00. Like they did it against the Commanders a couple of weeks ago on Christmas Eve, but that's a weird week anyway, right? But they didn't even really come out that hot against Washington during that game. Seattle's going to want to make sure they don't want to lose their season, right? So they're going to be the max full 100% effort on their part, right? So, I expect it to be kind of a sloggy game for about the first half, and then we probably pull away in the second. Or it's one of those deals we go up 23-13, Seattle scores 10 points and then can't get closer. 23-13 is what I'm thinking. If you're into over-unders, I would probably take the under on this one.
Yeah, depending on the weather.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. We don't know how that field's going to be.
Factors, yeah.
The week of the, by the way, it's weird. The week of the catch, they had 6.5 inches of rain that week, and it was, people were very concerned about it. Now look at the rain they've got this week.
Yeah.
Add it up and see if they're going to be concerned about it, right? I mean,
Exactly.
I believe field drainage systems are a little better nowadays.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I believe
A little bit
this
more
field is
advanced.
also above sea level, which I think helps.
Yeah.
But different things and stuff. Is George Thomas still around? The turf doctor? Could he come over, make sure everything's okay? The legend.
Well, and you know what too? They actually they're painting going back to painting the end zones red.
Red.
We haven't seen that.
As they should. Playoff
yes.
red, baby. Let's go.
Yes.
Always. Yeah.
They started that today, but I think tomorrow will be a little drier, so they're going to complete that. So I'm excited to see that.
I'm also excited to see that.
Yes. Offensive keys to this game. Becca, go ahead.
Let's see. I think Moody Ward has to have a great game. Whoever's covering Tyler Lockett has to have a great game. Someone has to stop. Offense. Sorry. I'm on one side of the ball. I'm over here like, wait.
I'm glad you caught it.
You're 100% correct.
I was like,
though.
wait a minute.
Yeah, I know.
Word.
I'm not arguing with you.
We have to run the ball. We have to really, really establish the run. They're like 30th against the run. They're last against screen passes. So we really have to capitalize on their weakness. And I think, put a dart in them early, which we have struggled to do against teams. And I think that that's something we have to fix for the playoffs for sure. We have to come out and really, really get those things humming along. And then that's just going to keep wearing down their defense and, taking them out of the game. But I think, the run game is critically important for us to get that established. And now with Mitchell back and Debo back and McCaffrey having just lights out games that he's been playing, they're going to have a really hard time, I think, managing the three-headed monster plus, all of our other guys that we can rotate in there and the Masons and whoever, Mr. Mariano Rivera, right? Cue the Metallica.
Yeah.
I want to see that early, right? Let's get him
Into
in
the
there.
Sandman.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's really a key thing. I think, we can't give up those big plays, and that's all defense. But that's really it for me for offenses. I think we have to keep the run game, no penalties. O-line has to keep Brock from getting sacked too much. No big plays, no penalties.
Okay. Before we move on, if anyone else wants to pick a number, we're giving away a t-shirt. This is the t-shirt we're giving away. So last call for numbers.
And you're gonna want to get
40.
that shirt now because we're about 4 weeks away from that shirt being out of date.
That's right.
So just a heads up. You get it. You want to wear it
That's
now.
very true. It'll be
That's right.
vintage. You're right.
It'll be vintage.
You want to just
You're
go
right.
ahead.
Now.
It'll be 100%. It'll be a throwback,
Classic.
right? Like
Yep.
that's exactly what it is.
All right.
Yeah, I agree with Becca though. Offensive keys. I think we just got to establish the run. It's our bread and butter. It's what we do. You know. I know they got some pieces that came back defensively, like Big Al Woods in the middle, but they're still soft against the run. Like he didn't change their life at all. So I think don't let his presence deter us. Continue to pound the rock. And we saw what happened when we did that in the first game. Like we just continued to pound the rock on them and they eventually broke. So just continue to do that. Stay away from the turnovers. Quandre Diggs has been a ball hawk at the end of the season. And we saw he almost had to pick on Brock in that Thursday night game.
Mm-hmm.
So just take care of the ball, manipulate him. And with all the weapons we have and they're fresh and healthy, yeah, I think we can move the ball on them at will. I do.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, we're healthy at the right time. Elijah and Debo are fresh. This may shock you guys, but good things happen when George Kittle gets the ball.
We knew that was
George
coming.
who? No.
I think I have to have a shirt made with that, actually. But yeah, I think, he needs to be involved because as we've seen week in and week out, he's, obviously, been kind of almost like a security blanket, just like CMC has been for Brock.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the weather is concerned, I don't know how the weather is going to be, but, that's running the ball and, we're good back there as well. So that's my offensive keys. Maddie, what do you think?
Kittle getting into the game and getting touches early because Seattle is 32nd in the league against tight ends.
Yeah.
And George Kittle usually does really well against Seattle anyways, no matter who is at quarterback.
Yeah.
So I think if you get him involved early, you're not going to have a lot of Diggs because Diggs is going to be having to cover wide receivers, right? To me, I think this is a game where you can really utilize the matchup strengths that you have with Debo when you're working him on the inside, right? If you work him out as either a split end, an eye back, you put him in motion, get him out of the slot. There's so many things you can do with Debo out of that it frees things up for McCaffrey. It's going to free things up for Kittle that you just have not seen against Seattle before, right? As long as they do this thing correctly. So it's a very, very exciting matchup. I like it. Out of all the potential matchups I think we could have gotten, this was the one that was probably the most palatable, right? Like, oh yeah, we beat them twice, but yeah, there's the Rams thing, and you hate trying to face that team, a division team, 3 times in a season. It's just one of those deals because crap happens, right? Trey Lance breaks his ankle. If you don't have Jimmy Garoppolo for that game, how does Brock Purdy look in game 2? Maybe not as good as he looked in game 10, right? So, or if Nate Sudfeld had been the backup instead of Jimmy Garoppolo, there could have been an entirely different season during that point. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those deals where never know, but I feel pretty decent about this one, right? Might be a little sloggy at first.
Yeah.
23-13, 24-13, right in that vicinity.
Yeah.
All right. So shall we pick a number?
Let's pick a number. Let's do it.
69.
I'm going to shake it up. Can we see that? Oh, you can
Yes.
see it. All right. I'm going to shake it up.
0? Oh, no. 0's nothing.
Shake, shake, shake.
Still 0.
Of course
Nope.
not.
No, still 0.
Let me just
What time we
It's
can do it, right?
Didn't piss a drop, as Dwight Hicks would say. Yeah.
15. There you go.
15.
15.
Who was closest?
Looks like Steve-O.
There you go.
It wasn't Bryant. I'm genuinely concerned.
You picked 33.
Steve-O had 17. Congratulations,
job.
Steve-O.
Steve-O.
You
All
won a
right.
shirt. Make sure you DM Ty with
Yep.
your
That's my Twitter
info.
handle.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hit me up. We'll get it to you.
Cool stuff. All right. Becca, I'm coming back to you with defensive keys since you already started.
Yeah, since I already said all the answers.
Yeah.
reverse.
We'll pretend we didn't hear you.
And you
Yes.
know, I think that the secondary, we have to not give up big passes downfield. We can't let them pull the Arizona Cardinal fake trick play, bomb downfield, open up with the score like that. My eyes couldn't roll any further in the back of my head. It's like, stop it already. No more of that. So I think, you know, we have to really, really clean that up and make sure that we're not giving the big plays away. Geno Smith broke Russ's passing record this year. So of all the things, he's having a lights out year passing. And, you know, I think, you know, we have to take care of that side of the ball with the defense and not let them have those kind of plays. You know, keep DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett in check and make him frustrated another week. That's fun to watch when DK's begging for flags and not getting them. And, you know, Mooney Ward is there. Sorry, Dwight dusted himself off. Sometimes it's fun to watch, right? Like, but I think that's a big part of our defense. And of course, you know, the more pressure we can get on Geno, the more opportunities there are for interceptions and picks and things like that. So I think we have to keep at him. Bosa needs another sack, a couple more feathers in the cap, and keep that ball rolling. Play our defense that we've played all year.
Maddie, go ahead.
No Talanoa Hufanga coverage breakdowns. Thank you.
He was on my
That
list.
is the end of my defensive keys and everything Becca said. Right? Like, let's stop with this big play BS at the beginning of the game. Enough. Or at any point during the game. Just stop it. You guys are the number one defense in the National Football League. Friggin' play like it. Bell to bell. That's it. That's all I got for you.
Go ahead, Ty.
Key one. Hold on. Let me see. Get my glasses on so I can see.
Oh shit! He's getting the glasses, guys.
Oh,
That's
he's
right.
got the old man glasses.
Serious.
Okay.
He's really old.
Ooh.
Defensive key one. Safety's got to stay back because we see teams trying to hit them with play action. Flea Flicker last week. Blah blah blah. They're not attacking the corners. They're attacking the safeties because they know the safeties are cheating up, keeping their eyes in the backfield, and they're trying to hit things over their heads. That's a huge key. And we know Seattle likes to go vertical with Metcalf and Lockett. So if it's Gibson back there, he needs to stay back. And we saw he got caught the first play of the game on that flea flicker in Arizona. But after that, he stayed back.
He did.
And wound up with 2 picks. So how about we learn that early at the start of the game so we don't have any busts? And as always, it's the pressure up front. I think the front 7 need to really bring their A game. Seattle has been relying on their running back, Kenneth Walker, a lot.
We missed practice today.
Toward the end of the season. Yeah, they've been leaning on him a lot. Dude's banged up. But still, we saw when we played them on Thursday night, he got loose for a big run and things like that. The guy is dangerous. He has speed. So I think the front 7 just needs to key on him more than anything. Keep him contained, make them a passing team, and then it's pressure, baby. It's pressure. When we've seen their O-line can't handle our D-line. It just is what it is.
I think our secondary definitely has to just play their game. You know, don't do anything, you know, too much. Like sometimes Talanoa Hufanga does. You know, and you know, our defensive line has to just bring the pressure.
Mm-hmm. Cue Billy Joel.
Discipline, as Rob says in the chat. Discipline.
Right.
Yeah, they discipline.
Right.
Stick with your keys.
Yes.
You know?
And Diamador Lenore will be fine. Let's not freak out about him.
I don't know
Yeah,
why.
Maddie.
he can't be singled up with
Go ahead.
Devontae Adams. Holy shit. Stop the presses. Nobody else in the league can either. Film at 11. Like, holy God, right?
Retarded.
Like, are we stunned by
Retarded.
this? Ah.
You know what's funny? Okay, so the Raiders game, he singled up with Devontae Adams.
Right.
You know they're going deep to Devontae Adams.
Of course they are.
The safety doesn't get back, but Lenore's right there. He competes. The ball, it wasn't a catch, first of all.
No, it
but
wasn't.
He still gets heat for it. Come back to Arizona. They run the flea flicker. AJ Green did a great job of selling it. Remember, AJ Green wasn't all pro. He did a great job of selling it. But Lenore recouped, got himself back into position to get at least a PBU, and was clear as day interfered with. Green pushed him not once, but twice.
Mm-hmm.
Full extension.
Mm-hmm.
No flag.
Yep.
But the guy that really messed up the play was Gibson. Because one, he was out of position. And when he did come back into position, all he did was watch.
Yeah.
Go back and watch that play. He just kind of looked at it all happen. Instead of getting in there, trying to help get a PBU, then he misses the tackle. Disaster. But lay off Lenore, really. Because it's not his fault so much.
Yeah, like the guy's been left on the island multiple times. At some point, he has to start talking to the friggin' volleyball to not lose his mind, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happening right
Yeah.
now.
Wilson!
Right.
Wilson!
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
X factor on offense. Maddie, go.
Kyle Juszczyk. I think he's going to be a big red zone key in these playoffs as a whole. I think he needs to be utilized quite a bit. If you go back to Purdy's first game, Purdy's first touchdown pass was to Kyle Juszczyk. I think he creates a major matchup problem, and for a team that can't stop the run like Seattle, that makes him a very valuable weapon, right? So that would be a big one. Thank you, Steve-O. Steve-O agrees with me. By the way, if you're looking for an X factor for Seattle, the one player that I'm very concerned about, pretty sure he's healthy and playing. It seems like former 49ers seem to pull it out of their hole against us. So Marquise Goodwin, if he does
I heard
play,
he's out.
Is he
He's
out?
not. He was put on IR.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's out.
never mind. We're good.
Oh.
He's out. Done. No former 49ers cursing things. We're good. The curse of Dante
He's out.
Pettis from week 1. All right, good. Good.
Yeah, no,
All right.
they
Sorry,
put him on
Marquise.
IR.
You get paid, and I hope everything works out. And I'll find a great team next year that's not Seattle. Thank you. Good
Go
day.
ahead, Maddie. I mean, go ahead, Ty.
For me, it's Elijah Mitchell. I think you're going to start off with CMC, obviously, and then he's going to come in, and it's a totally different burst that he brings that I don't think they're going to be ready for. And I know, Maddie, we talked early in the year how it's kind of like you want a big back to come in and kind of be like a thunder and lightning type thing. But with CMC and Mitchell, it's kind of like thunder and thunder strike.
It's very yes.
Yeah, because like CMC can hit you, and we know how explosive he is. But then Elijah comes in with those fresh legs, and it's like boom, boom, and I don't think teams are ready for it. So I can see him just like catching them off guard and really just chewing them up for like 8-9 yards a carry.
It's like the Thor lightning from the first Thor, and then the Thor lightning from like Ragnarok, right?
Yeah.
It's a little more powerful.
Yep.
And that's how it kind of goes. Like it's
Yeah.
just that you're going from one like either way you're getting zapped is really
Exactly.
what it boils down to.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I am going to go with Debo.
Mhm.
Debo was my guy too. They suck at screen defending the screen passes, and I just feel like Debo is going to see a lot of action.
Yeah,
Depending on the
I like the
field.
fact. I just like the fact that he's fresh. He's back. We really didn't use him too much against Arizona.
Mhm.
So my X factor on offense is Debo. What about on defense? Go ahead, Becca.
X factor on defense, I think that's going to have to be probably the D line getting pressure. I mean, I feel like Eric Armstead and Bosa, those guys are going to have great games. You know, hands up. He's going to be looking to pass heavy, because I don't think they're going to get the run game going. Oh, I was looking to see what that
We
is.
ask ourselves that question, Steve-O, all the time. I don't get it.
Yes. Yep.
But I do think, you know, the edge rush and you know, straight up the middle there, just getting pressure on Geno Smith is going to be the X factor. One of those guys are going to have a couple sacks, and it's going to matter.
Go ahead, Ty.
You know what? I'm going to go with Jimmy Ward because, like I mentioned before, they're going to try to do some things with Kenneth Walker, and I think he's going to be that guy to kind of sniff it out early and help lay some wood with the front seven. And also, I noticed in the last game, DK Metcalf, he was so frustrated they had to move him to the slot.
Out of his mind.
just to get him to get anything, because he was locked down. So I think they're going to do that a lot again this game and try to just get him some short passes to get him going. And I can see, and we know he and Ward have a history. He and Jimmy Ward have a history.
Isn't like anyone named Ward, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
Your last
Ward's
name's
his
Ward,
kryptonite.
DK Metcalf's like, no, I don't think so.
Well, I think he'll try to like come out and try to kind of, you know, intimidate Jimmy Ward, and we know that's not going to happen, and he's going to get rattled again. So Jimmy Ward's my guy.
Go ahead, Maddie.
Dre Greenlaw, returning Dre Greenlaw.
Big play, Dre.
That he's to me, Dre Greenlaw, like, I know Fred Warner's the captain of the defense, and we talk about how great Nick Bosa is in the defensive line, but to me, Dre Greenlaw is like the heart and soul of this team and this defense. Does remind me a lot. He kind of has that Hacksaw Reynolds vibe, right? Only you don't really have to take him out of the nickel. But like same student of the game, but also like very just intense. And you can tell that they kind of feed off of him and his energy. And he started to learn to control his energy a little bit and not do things like push trainers from Detroit or things like that, right? Like, or do the things that DK Metcalf did on that Thursday night game where he lost his mind, because he was acting ridiculous in that game too. There have been times that Greenlaw's been called out for some things, and I think he's dealt in intensity just enough to where he's not pushing the line anymore, but he's still intense. There was a big difference, I thought, with their defense last week with him not in there. So I think him coming back this week, being healthy, and he's got a good history against the Seahawks. So
yes,
I'm going to go with Talanoa Hufanga. No blown coverages this week.
Yep.
All right, guys. So anything else on this game?
Ray McLeod needs a touchdown on the special teams. I'm speaking this into existence.
Let's do it.
Kick return,
something, right?
Preferably a punt return, because I don't want to see too many kick returns unless it's a field goal. Like, get Ray McLeod a return touchdown, please. Get this special teams a touchdown. They can do the canoe in the end zone for that. I'm totally cool with that, because special teams in this history, like in this team's history, like them making good plays, like celebrate the crap out of that, because they're few and far between many times. So, yes, Ray McLeod, special teams touchdown. Let it be.
I'll take it.
Thank you.
I just can't wait to get out there. It's going to be fun. Fun times.
I know. Do you have a poncho?
I do.
Ray is going to be slow with all the wet hair.
I am all prepared. Don't forget, I went to DC and Baltimore and they were both rain games. Like,
I wasn't at the Baltimore game. I
Yes.
should have, but the DC game, yes.
It was freezing rain in Baltimore.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I moved my seat. I went into the dry section. Like, I went 2 rows back. I'm like, oh, hey, it's not raining there. That's where I went.
Yeah, there was a lot of rain in DC. So, yeah. All right. So, if no one has anything else to say, everybody good?
Yep.
Yeah.
All
Keep
right,
an eye on our Twitter, dude. That we do our guests and upcoming guests and stuff there. Like, and we give you plenty of advance time too. Like, so you'll know.
A couple days for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Twitter, Instagram. Yep, we're there.
We have the people.
All right, let's go to our hurry up offense and the 2-minute warning. Go ahead, Maddie.
If you're going to the game this weekend, bring your rain gear, be loud, and be pumped for it. I'm not going to give you any sort of hotel suggestions or anything because, frankly, I don't want anything stolen in terms of like where to find cheapness and things of that nature. But look around. There's good deals and you can make it out there for this game. It's a big one. They need you. Let's have a large home field advantage. And first of 3 home playoff games, calling it now.
Go ahead, Becca.
My first thing is thank you so much to our Jersey boy, Dwight Hicks, for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure having him and reminiscing about all of those great 80s moments. I think the team's going to take it this weekend. We're going to run all over them. We need to get that win. And Matt over here on kayak trying to book a flight. So go Niners.
Multitasking. Go ahead, Ty.
Exactly. Hey, we are at the playoffs. The 2022 season is not over yet. We got a lot of football to play. So stop worrying about 2023 and focus on what's happening right now, and enjoy this moment.
Dwight Hicks, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for everybody who watched, tuned in, was in the chat. We really appreciate your support. Ty is right. Let's focus on the now. We are at wild card weekend. The 49ers are in the playoffs. Let's focus on this. Save everything for next season. Just keep it there next season. Can't wait to go out to the game this weekend. Go Niners.
Bang, bang. We'll deal with it after the parade.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe.
Like, subscribe, and come back.
Share,
Tell a friend.
Tell your friends.
Yes.
And we're out of here. Go Niners.
Go Niners.
Of course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3. We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.